All right, everybody. We are here back with another Alovéa Pros podcast, and this is one I'm extremely excited for. We actually have met before, but we've got new news, and we're here with Maaxx. And Maaxx, man, am I excited? I'm always excited to talk to you because you have such a creative flair in life. You've been through the spectrum of doing so many things in your life, professionally, creatively. You've gone all the way from being like an incredible designer, as you can tell behind you there, but also you become a world champion. You've gone through the spectrum of everything in life, tried so many different experiences, but you have something kind of new to share to kick off this podcast. What's new in your life?
Well, I think first of all, we should not to forget that I beat you in a push-up challenge.
This is not only a true story.
That was the first time
I was sitting here. I actually watched the video earlier. There you go. So this is proof she did actually destroy me in a push-up challenge.
That was fun. We got to redo it and play tennis also. But yes.
Okay, I'm in for that one.
I did that for 14 years. It's been a long time now. But yes, I started the Alovéa products about 1.5 years ago. And I started for the kids. I was just fully committed to help children. And I didn't even think in my mind that I could actually make anything better for myself because I'd already improved so much in my life. I already ate super clean and exercised and do all the rehab and like everything, spirituality, meditation, everything. Like there's not really more I can do, I thought, and started it. And, slowly but surely, my allergies went away. That was my first experience, and my hormones. So my ovulation cramps just went away after probably 2-3 weeks. That was the first time. And I was like, wow, this is the first time I'm not in pain. And then fast forward, about 2 months in, I didn't have any joint issues anymore, which I had had for probably 20 years or something.
Right.
Oh, crazy. So my realization was I did a hanging leg raises and my hands didn't give up. And I have a fake or half fake arm. So I would always be weak. Just makes sense, right? No, so all of that went away. Fast forward, then after I'm feeling so much better, I start training MMA because now I can do things that are not just very controlled weightlifting, right? And then now, 4.5 months ago, I got pregnant after I was told when I was 21 that I can't.
Wow. So well, first of all, congratulations. So this is the big news, right? Everything you've been through. And I loved how you just randomly threw in there, so now I'm healthy enough, I'm going to start MMA fighting because, I've done so many other amazing things. And then you find out you're pregnant. I know when we spoke earlier, you said, and you just mentioned you were told you would never have kids. So what do you think went from the medical industry saying you're never going to have kids to, and then you had a lot of challenges, health challenges that Alovéa was a big part of, because you are a sponsored pro. You're sponsored as a world champion sponsored pro with this company. And you obviously take the products for yourself. You share them with your clients and your followers.
If people saw my store.
Right. Yeah, no, it's incredible. Right. So, but what happened? Why do you think you've been put in this position where you can have a child now after you're told you never could?
Well, first of all, I would say that a few years back, I already kind of changed my mind about thinking that was true because I'd already seen things change in myself and other people to the point where I was like, because I remember my mom asked me once, she's like, well, you've done so much. What about, what I'm going to ask now? And she's like, what about that? And I said, well, I think someday it will probably work. So I think a big part, your mindset changes everything. So me changing my mindset and no longer believing that it's not impossible is also a part in it. So it's a combination. And I believe I'm huge in manifesting things. And I believe that when you manifest something, the solution literally just presents itself to you. So I think that the missing puzzle for me to fully recover was the Ace Man, and boom, just suddenly one day I hear the podcast with Kingbao on Alex Jones, and I'd never seen his content before. I knew who he was. We had friends in common, and I had sent him t-shirts of my merch, but I'd never seen his content. I'm not the one. I don't really sit on social media and look at stuff. And he just popped up suddenly one day in front of me, and I click on it, And I just hear, oh, I'm going to eradicate childhood malnutrition. I was like, what? And that's how I
That
started
sounds like a
listening.
worthy
So
goal.
I think, it's a combination. So if somebody is truly ready to recover and heal and get better and have a better life, and I tell you about Ace Manon, it's going to work better for you than a person that is still in the mindset of them just being miserable, because it all
Yeah.
goes together.
Well, I think it's so interesting what you're saying, because I think people do get caught up in their own reality and how they're even identified. I can think of people that we know we have a company, we employ a few hundred people, and I can think of some people that they like to be that person that's always is something wrong. They live in that world of challenges. So I think this is a beautiful mindset where you start with the mind, but you still, focused on food technology to also help your body. Now your mind's in the right place, your body's in the right place. So what has been the difference so now you're pregnant, you're still training, you're competing. Like, how are you feeling? Has the work you've done beforehand, are you feeling well?
I believe I'm happy that I didn't get pregnant when I was younger, because I think I would have had a pregnancy with, things like fatigue and tiredness and cravings and nausea and whatever, I started documenting, when I talk to people, I have nothing. I have no nausea. I'm not tired. I'm not, I get out of breath a little faster than I would before, because like, as far as I know, the baby's like pressing on the lungs, right? So I can feel it that I get out of breath faster, but I don't feel any different. I just
Hmm.
don't last as long in the training, but I can still train, honestly, probably even harder than before, which my coach is telling me. He's like, you are way stronger now. I was like, yeah, I checked my blood level, my testosterone gone up a little. So that would probably explain it. Otherwise, I feel great. And I had a live stream with my friend the other day, who's a doctor, who you probably met him on one of the Alovéa events, actually. So he talks a lot about pregnancy prep. So he helps couples prepare for like 6 months before they plan to get pregnant. Because if you get pregnant and you're not healthy, what do you think you're going to produce? You're not
Right. Oh,
ready,
yeah. That makes so much
because
sense.
all the things. So first of all, the dad has to be healthy for an extended period of time to have healthy seed, right? And then the mom has to be healthy to be able to build the healthy child. So you can't become healthy when you're pregnant. That's too late. So I think, yeah, I'm happy it happened now, because I done so much work. My body was ready, and that's probably why I'm feeling so damn good.
But that's fascinating. Like, it's interesting how I really haven't heard that before. And I'm sure, Anna and I don't have kids, so it's not a world that we know as well. But it does make a lot of sense. We talk about how many people have health challenges and so many different challenges. And of course, you as a Alovéa Pro and also as a health influencer, we educate and teach people about making the right decisions. But what a brilliant concept to get healthy before you even consider having kids, which obviously doesn't happen a whole lot. That's a remarkable. So, a lot of times people don't want to change their regime, or they're really worried about what to do when they're pregnant. What are you currently doing? Like, you're still training. Are you taking Alovéa products? And obviously, this isn't a recommendation for anybody. People, go see your own doctor, make your own decisions. But what are you taking through this process?
So when I first got pregnant, I was like, okay, let's see what I'm doing, because I want to know, do I need to change something? First and foremost, I haven't really changed anything. The only thing I do different, so I used to drink 1 core a day, the one with the Ace Man and Betalins. I used to take 1 core a day, and then I used to take, I don't know, like 2 immune and a limitless, something like that. I do 2 core a day now, because I loaded everything. I do like calculations kind of how much you need of everything. So the only thing I
Mm.
changed was I doubled up to 2 core, so that will cover me and baby's folate needs, which somebody probably, I'm going to make a post about this soon, about folic acid. The doctor will tell you to take folic acid. No, that's synthetic crap. You need folate, which is natural, which is some in the core, actually. And then the rest of it you should get from your food, like meat, eggs, so on. So I do eat a little bit more eggs than I do before. Besides, I eat exactly the same. I make sure I eat at least 1 steak a day. I eat 6 eggs, and the rest, whatever, fruit, oatmeal, whatever I want for the rest. And then I have everything I need. And the baby too.
Wow.
So yeah, I
And you're
definitely also
feeling
do
amazing
drink the
and
fake
great.
regulation, which I do suggest everyone. I think that one also played a big role in everything because a lot of people are stressed. Stress is not good for
Hmm.
anybody, in any way. So I drink usually 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Drink a little bit more water. I do get dehydrated a little faster. I don't notice it on a regular day, but I went to Vegas to take care of my house a little while ago, and it was like 110 degrees. And I was running around all
Oh my
day, like
goodness.
trying to organize. And I felt how I was getting dehydrated, even though I drank a gallon of water. So I have noticed that I do need more water.
Wow. Hey, I
Otherwise,
think
yeah.
this is fascinating because it's really quite an amazing story if you kind of think everything that you've done in your life, and because we haven't gone into the whole background of your health story. Like you said, your arm is basically like almost like a fully robotic arm, and you've had some really significant
Well,
health issues.
no, luckily, I had a doctor in Sweden. So what they do is they went into my hip and took bone and made a new wrist out of my own bone. Because like many probably know, we're not supposed to have foreign objects in our body. So most of it is bone from another part of me. And then, yes, there's a little bit of screws and stuff, but it's stitches all the way from the hand down to here on all sides.
Wow.
And I did this tattoo. The
Wow.
whole hand was full of scars. So that's the only one I did afterwards to cover it up.
Well, it's beautiful. And I know that journey was long and a lot of the health issues that were kind of around that time in your life. But you're looking to build all this into like a real story because you are, you do a ton of online live streams and webinars and educating folks who are interested in this. Can you touch on that? We didn't even talk about that ahead of time. I know about the project, but can you touch on a little bit of what you're doing and why you're doing it?
Oh, the Sovereign Mom Project. When I first got pregnant, first I was like, wow, this is crazy. And then I was like, you know what? No, it's not. And that was kind of like I was like, what? And then, my first thing is like, okay, well, I guess I'm having a baby then, And then I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to do all of this? Do I want to have any sort of checkup on the baby? And I'm thinking first, you know what? I don't need to. I'm a very spiritual person. My second week, I did a meditation. I knew the gender, everything, I know the baby's fine. I can feel the energy. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to do one ultrasound. I found a place to just do the ultrasound, basically. I was like, perfect. This sounds good to me. At least I can get my ultrasound just to see that everything, it is actually a baby, I know by, just to make sure. And also I did check the gender to see if I was right, and I was. So I did a whole class on free birthing. Free birthing is when you
Mm.
give birth without any professionals around. All by yourself, maybe your family, your partner, whatever, but that's it. So I decided I am doing everything by myself. Potentially, maybe. So one of the guys are going to I want to make a documentary about all of this. So everything is done. We're just looking for, funding, investors, etc. Script is done. Everything is planned out. One of the guys in the film team, his sister's a doula. So I think, okay, maybe I'll have a doula at the time of the birth. But that would be,
Yeah.
it would still be, I don't know if I'll do a home birth per se, because if I still live in the MMA gym, I probably don't want to be here, but maybe I'll rent a space. So it would be like a home birth still. And no medical intervention, no nothing. All natural.
Well, and I love the fact that you're documenting this whole experience because it's going to be something pretty fascinating, not only for you, but also your baby to be able to come into the world and see everything that you went through, which I think is absolutely incredible. I'm going to go in slightly a different direction here because what inspired you to be an Alovéa Pro, to be sponsored by this company in the beginning was what you said earlier when you saw Joel's podcast was nourishing children and nourishing 7 million kids die every year of malnutrition. And so to eradicate childhood malnutrition, that spoke to you. You've been to Mexico. You've hung out with President Fox, the former president of Mexico, twice. I like it. And his beautiful wife, Martha. And, if you talk about now you have this new phase where you're feeding your own child, right? So you've been nourishing children around the world. And now you've got this like new experience. How does that make you feel about being part of this movement?
I mean, I think the reason why it called to me in the first place, I think I was always supposed to be a mom. And it was like, if anyone who knows me, always like, oh, you're always so good with, other people's kids or animals or anything. So I think I was just supposed to do that. And then whether that was my own child or not, maybe it doesn't matter. And my mom asked, she's like, are you going to adopt any of these kids?
Did you really?
Yes, she did ask that actually. And I mean, it was just adorable because I went on 2 trips and we went back to one of the places we went to was the same both of the years, right? And the second year when I arrived, this little boy comes running up to me and somebody had a picture on their phone of him and me last year. So he just came running, haven't even
Wow.
entered the place yet. I literally just came out of the car and he just comes running up and gives me hugs and show me this picture. I mean, so they remember we were there a year ago. It was just so cute. And then we actually last time we went to a place that we had hand delivered their first batch of Ace Manon, and it was pretty crazy to see the difference in the health of these kids versus the one on the other place that already had been getting it for a while. I mean, it's night and day. So I'm hoping that next year we go back to that place. See, they look different.
How much fun will it be to go back with your own child, right? So your own, I've seen many of the pros who've brought their own kids down to that experience and how kids can be brought up. So now all of a sudden you're raising a child that's going to have this Ace Manon from day one. It's going to have this technology. It's going to have a mother who has this philosophy around taking care of their health, and seeing the difference that you're making in the world is pretty amazing.
I mean, I think,
so what are you most...
I have really good parents, but I still think that we need to show our kids how to do something good for the world. And I don't think a lot of parents even know or think about that. They don't even know. And now I know, oh, okay, like right away you can see, hey, you can actually, it's not that much effort and you can actually make these kids over here feel better. And I think that's something that more people should think about.
That's how we change the world, right?
Yeah, and I had a conversation just yesterday with somebody about this. You know how some parents are just like, with their kids, they're just so this and they do that. Well, you raised them. Like, what do you think? What are you talking about? Like, you can't blame them. You will raise your children however you want them to be. Not to say they don't have their own mind, but just like an animal.
Well, and I've always loved the line, I think it was Billie Jean King said it back in the day in the sports world, you got to see it to be it. So, for your children or for other children to see the experience of kids around the world and to see the giving that can happen. I mean, it's just going to build an innate desire to want to make a difference. And there's different ways you can do that, but everybody can make a difference if you're already nourishing yourself, like with Alovéa, we're a buy one, nourish one company. So you buy this, so I'm nourishing myself, but there's a donation that's given to a child in need. So on every single purchase. And Maaxx, you've made an incredible impact. Well, we're very, very proud of you guys and very excited for the future and can't wait to physically meet the new family member and be able to hopefully get you guys up here to Bear Lake, and so you can have a nice little retreat where we live in the mountains, and then of course eventually to Mexico. Well, we'd love to have you here.
Yes.
So, well, thank you very much. We really appreciate you spending time with us today, and I can't wait to follow up with you and see how the journey is going in a few months.
Yeah. Thank you so much.